So today I want to talk about Newcastle United's continued support for the manager Eddie Howe in the wake of this Crystal Palace defeat. And I also want to address certain segments of the media that week in, week out peddle this shallow rhetoric insisting we must be grateful, we must stand behind our manager, and that failure to do so somehow equates into disloyalty to our football club. First off, I'm Adam, this is Two for Joy. If you're new around here, make sure you get down there, like and subscribe. All the content's free, memberships are available. Every bit of support from you guys helps along the road on our way to 1,000. Now, I've got some stats here that I want to go over and compare us to other clubs that kind of puts things in perspective and stops this shit rhetoric that gets peddled out over and over and over about how Eddie Howe, the media star boy, cannot be criticised. Now, we've won 3 games in the last 11 league matches. It's subpar performances week in, week out. We've dropped 25 points from winning positions, the most in the league, the most of any team in the league. We have an overage squad with very little sell-on value for the majority of the players in our team with expiring contracts. And what I want to bring this down to is let's look at clubs that have been in our position and clubs that are as bigger than us who have managed to change these circumstances with less than what we have. And what I want to bring up this summer, the summer just been, and our transfer spend. And I'm going to compare it to Man United. And the reason I do this is because last season, Manchester United finished 15th in the league under Ruben Amorim. And we all fucking laughed. I fucking, every week, laughed at the fact that they were pissing that club away. And the backroom staff are shit. The setup of the club is shit. The stadium's falling apart. It's mismanaged. The money spent is ridiculous. But they finished on 42 points in the Premier League in 15th. We're currently 14th on 42 points with 6 games to go. And honestly, with performances like we saw at the weekend, I can't see us picking up many more points than this. And I'll be quite honest, Manchester United spent 216 million this summer on Mbeumo, Cunha and Sesko. 3 targets that were targets for Newcastle. Those 3 players are starting most of the games for Manchester United. They've built a front line and they're sat 3rd in the league currently. 32 games, 55 points. But we didn't have the funds to be able to offer the same in wages as them, is what Newcastle would lead you to believe. Now, Newcastle spent 255 to 270 million as an estimated cost this summer on Voltmada, Chow, Alanga, Wissa, Ramsey. One of those players started for us against Crystal Palace. 4 of those players were on the bench after a 3-week rest period from our last match. And what I'd like to kind of say is we're 32 games, 42 points. What I'd kind of like to say is this shows if you want to act like if Newcastle want to act like a big club and they want to talk the talk and they want to do all the things that they say they want to, that David Hopkinson is projecting and that we're acting like in the way we spend, then the players we've brought in aren't fucking good enough. And I don't believe they were top of the list. I don't believe they were the targets that were top of the list. I believe they were the targets that were achievable for us to pay the wages that we want to pay. Now, at some point, Newcastle, if they want to push into this big six, into that top four, they are going to have to break the wage structure. They are going to have to go out on a limb and put players on big wages in order to keep them. And if you look across that front three and look at our front three this weekend, so we say Anthony Gordon, Will Asula, Jacob Murphy, compared to Brian Mbeumo, Cunha, Sesko, realistically, do you think that those three players, had we signed them on the wages that they're on, and while it may have crippled us financially for one season, would have put us in a top four position? Because I'll be quite honest, there's 13 points in it, and we've lost 25 from winning positions. Not being clinical enough, not being able to see out games, not being able to play with the mentality that Eddie Howe has preached for 4 years. And if we're not looking at big clubs, and we'll just cut Man United from the equation, cut the big stuff, Leeds United, you can see in the table, Leeds United, 6 points behind us. Their summer spend was £107 million. They're sat on 32 games and 36 points. Realistically, 6 points behind us in the league with a spend of 107 million to our 255 to 270. It's absolutely criminal. And while I'd be sat there laughing at Ruben Amorim, laughing at Man United for how fucking poor they were, and laughing that their board chose to carry on and back him, it shows from what they did in the summer and how they let him go and how they've changed this team, where they're sat third in the league now. And it shows with Leeds, their overall squad cost is 270 million for 6 points less than we have. And our overall squad cost is 610 million. Over double. It is pure mismanagement of the football club. And I genuinely believe if our owners stick to what they're saying they're going to do, which is back Eddie Howe, and most clubs say they back the manager straight up until they sack him, and it changes like that. But if Newcastle go through another summer window backing the manager, I honestly believe we are throwing away 2.5 years of our chance to get back into this mix of being a big club and competing for European competitions season on season. And where I'll go with this is essentially Newcastle United have talked the talk. It's our ownership, it's our board, it's coming from the top down. They have set these expectations. They have set the narrative that we will be competing by 2030. If they're setting that narrative to the public, what do you think they're setting that narrative to the players, to the staff, to the management? They're expecting this. And what they're getting is not what they're expecting. So in due course, whether they let Eddie Howe run out to the end of the season, I fully expect this manager to be gone, the changes to happen at the club that need to happen, and Newcastle to be shopping in different price categories when they come to look for players. Pay the wages. It's not about bringing in players on the highest transfer fees. It's about paying players the wages in order to keep them from the other big six, the Wolf pack that will come in and steal every one of those decent players every time we go for them, because we can't offer the wages that they can. So with that, if you've enjoyed the video, hit me up in the comments, get involved, and hopefully guys, I will see you in the next one.